What is going on, people? It is look, it's Arsenal 101, but it's also Arsenal 3 Spurs 1. Yeah. So let's just bask in the glory at the moment. I'm back here for two reasons, and I got to do all my player ratings and everything on the back end of the game yesterday, which I'm actually going to put up on the screen because some of the people forgot to see it. I think I was a little bit harsh. I spoke to Ken when I was talking about Odegaard, and yeah, so I'm just going to beef up Odegaard a little bit. Yeah, let's big him up a little bit. So that was my player ratings. So first of all, what I would like to do is I want to go around to Neomis and Ebony, who didn't actually get a chance to do their player ratings yesterday. And then we're going to talk about the 5 things that we learned from yesterday's game. So, Neomis, Ebony, which one of you want to go first?
You go,
Yeah, I'll go.
Neomis.
So, like Ramsdale, I thought Ramsdale had a solid game. To be really honest, Spurs didn't do almost anything in the first half to really kind of trouble him, and it wasn't up until I think the goal was 78th minute, 79th minute when they actually scored when Ramsdale was really challenged, and even in the whole of the second half, like Spurs were a bit of a threat, but Ramsdale kind of did with everything. There wasn't a lot of clear-cut moments for them. And I don't think that was to do with Ramsdale. I think that was to do more so with the defense that was in front of him that really prevented most things from ever really troubling Ramsdale. I think Harry Kane had a shot that if it wasn't for Ramsdale, would have gone in. Was one of those looping shots so that it deceptively looked. It looked like it was going over, but it was one of those ones. If he had left it, it would have gone right
Would have
over
gone
him.
in.
Yeah, and everybody would have been like, "Why didn't he jump for it? Put a hand up or something." And like he jumps for it, and I'm like, oh, he gets something. I'm brilliant. So for me, Ramsdale, even though I didn't think did much, I think again when you think of the whole Leno situation, I'm gonna give him an 8. I thought he was really good, solid game. Same thing with kind of Tomiyasu as well.
Yeah,
Like,
I did want to say on Ramsdale though he did
sure.
a lot because he did make some saves. Spurs
Oh
had
yeah,
quite but on top of that, a lot of our attacks started from his distribution. Did you notice that he dummied short and went long to Saka quite a lot of times in the game?
played up from the back. I will agree with you there. Didn't remember the was a dummy in the player, which I probably need to just go back and watch the game. But I have no complaints over Ramsdale. So far he looks good. I'd like to see him 10 games in, and then kind of judge him over the course of a season before I kind of jump up and say, "Yep, that's my keeper. Goodbye,
But hold
Leno,
on,
and
he's
good luck."
played 2 seasons in the Premier League.
No, yeah, but like those seasons weren't like they weren't with sides that whereby I could really look at as a true test. Now
Really?
he's
He
with
played the same teams that we did.
yeah, but he was
Oh.
with a crap team and was letting in a lot of goals, like a lot of goals. But now he's with Arsenal, and now like the games he's played, he looks good. And I mean, I don't see why he can't continue on like this. So for me, I'm tempering my expectations. Let's see what he does over the next 8 games. Um, I could really properly kind of make an argument there, and then what he does at the end of the season. But so far, I like him. I no complaints whatsoever about him. So I gave him an 8. Same thing with Tomiyasu. Again, good solid performance. I can't complain about the guy. He's looking like Kieran Tierney was last season. Just all round, his all-round game is solid defensively, solid overall. In terms of attacking going forward, a lot of the times trying to help the midfield players, getting back a lot of the times, even when he was out of position and other players were covering him, getting back to kind of help Ben White a lot of the time in that centre back role. So I'm liking what I see from Tommy. I really am. Like he's looking like a very, very good buy. Another kind of Kieran Tierney type buy, so I can't complain there with him. So for me, I'm going to give him also an 8. Uh, Ben White, I gave a 7.5. For me, when I'm looking at all of the both of the centre backs for me, Gabriel, who I'll get on in a bit, for me was the better one. Not that White did anything bad, but I just felt that Gabriel was the standout player. But what White did well was playing the ball out from
White
the
was
back,
brilliant. Oh, did you
creating
see them
chances.
balls he played?
Yes, like
60-yard balls over to Aubameyang, completely
so
knocking the midfield out and just putting them under
so many
pressure. Brilliant,
so many
brilliant.
good chances that he was doing from that position. That was the one thing that I will say that like all day long, whether it was passing out wide to the wings, just even the through balls he was making through midfield. A lot of the times he was just cutting out 3, 4 Spurs players and was finding our players, which is something that a lot of times, like when we used to try to do that, that wouldn't be the case. It would always get intercepted by some of the
Yeah.
opposition players. We've lost the ball, and then we're getting hit on the counter attack. So I like that about him. Defensively was good, but still there are moments there where I, I want to see more. But what I felt was the guy next to him, Gabriel, shut everything down. Anything that he was even remotely loose, Gabriel dealt with. Just straight up sentinel. Him
Mm.
and Tomiyasu again, just brilliant. For me, I gave him an 8.5 like you. I like what I see from him. Like it just shows that we have missed him. And I mean, last season when we did our end of season reviews, like we saw looking at his numbers that he was literally almost right up there with David Luiz. I think the only reason why I gave him less than David Luiz was the fact that he got a red card. I think he got 2 red cards last season where I marked him down for it. But when you look at the amount of goals he was scoring, the chances he creates, he spots danger and tries to deal with it before anything happens. And he kept on doing it today. Like Harry Kane was like, where was Kane? Like, where was Kane? Nullified.
Well, I don't know whether you guys saw my preview with Andy, and big shout out to you, Kieran. Kieran's a Spurs fan. Andy
Mm,
is on our Friday night show, which is the Premier League show. So that's when Andy will be able to turn up, and Andy will be able to talk you through what he thought about it. But I pretty much touched on it in the review when I pointed out he's just not in a position to affect the team. He's in the whole of the first 5 games, he had touched the ball just 10 times.
yeah.
And in the Palace game that they lost 3-0, he touched the ball in the box just once. One touch in the penalty area over 90 minutes. So that's what's happening to them, and it's affecting their creativity.
Yeah, it just wasn't, it wasn't enough. And they was talking about his stats afterwards, and like out of all of the strikers in the Premier League who have played at least 50 minutes, he has had the least amount of touches. He's the worst performing at the moment. Which is good for us because I mean this is a guy who I don't want performing. I mean this guy scores goals and creates chances. So the more he's on this bad run of form, the better. I mean I know I've heard the stories that he doesn't really score goals in like August September time. He always has a slow start and then pick things up. I hope that continues for the end of the season and it doesn't pick up. But for me, Gabriel was just amazing in this game.
I'll show
Um,
you this one, then I'll put this one up for you. There you
sure.
go.
Wow, yeah, this is what I saw, and they were talking about this. Shots 9.2, 20th chances from
Yeah,
open play 5.4. That just poor for that's awful.
yeah,
And I
that's
mean
Spurs.
Like
But
Harry,
the worst stat on that sheet is
mm,
the bottom one, distance
your
covered.
distance
Spurs are
lazy.
not working hard at all. It's just that this reminds me of the team before Emery took it over.
Yeah,
Before Emery took over Arsenal, this is and Wenger got sacked. This was this was us. We were the laziest team in the league. It
to be
wasn't working
honest,
hard at all.
Apollo, this Spurs side is looking like Arsenal 2, 3 seasons ago
Yeah,
because they,
yeah,
they
yeah.
they have they have a lot of good players, but Nuno is trying to figure out a way to get them like purring, get them going, and the players want to play a certain way. But they're missing key elements in one way, and like they're out of the transfer and they've got to try to stitch up some stuff together. Like I mean, they're I think if it wasn't for Harry Kane and Son, who are just like premier top quality players, they're gonna have a problem. They're gonna have a real problem this season. But like enough about Spurs. Let's talk about the mighty Arsenal. Um, Ki-
Before I'll let you carry on.
go,
These
go,
comments are
go,
coming
go.
through quickly, so let me run through them. Andy says greetings. What's going on, Andrew? Big shout out to you. He says Neomis is looking sharp.
Oh, thank you, man.
Um,
Like fresh haircut.
G saying is Neomis wearing a Newcastle Joe Willock jersey? It looks
No,
like it. It
I
looks
wish
like it,
this
doesn't it?
this is my I miss Joe Willock jersey, but it's a Juventus one just to make
Oh,
it
it's a
clear.
Juventus one. Oh, it looks
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
joke.
yeah.
It says, we missed you three on the stream last night. Lisa turned up big time. Yeah, she's the one that
Oh,
got the stream sorted out. Vincey asked me last week if we could do the game, and I said, well, unless you or Ebony or someone takes it over, it ain't gonna happen because no one sort of knows really how it works. So I went through the tutorial with Lisa, and she managed it. And so you guys, shout out, big shout out to Lisa. Big shout out to Lisa. Yeah, for doing that. Lisa's getting claps on the stream. And Kuke says, Kieran, what's this? Karen, I think is that
Kane,
yeah,
is
Karen,
it
yeah,
Kane?
Karen. Kane's value is plummeting with every game. By the end of the season, Spuds won't be able to give him away for free. Fantastic business by Levy. Karen says Spurs just cannot attack. Then two times Laganga was too far up out of his position. Yeah, he was way off
Yeah,
position. And the goals also, Kuke, that is very true. He's overrated, and that's coming from a Spurs fan. And then he says it's embarrassing. G says Levy would do well to have paid attention to Liverpool, sold Coutinho for silly money, brought in Van Dijk and Allison. That's how
yeah,
winning teams are made. I've been saying that for
yeah,
years.
yeah.
Kez, what's going on, Kez? Big shout out to you,
There you
man.
go.
Big shout out to you, Kez. Niamas, carry on with your player ratings. And also,
Yes,
G and Kez, if you wanted to do player ratings, you can throw them up as well. We'll have a look at those.
nice. Tierney, I gave him a 7.5. Again, another solid performance from him. Attacking wise, just brilliant. And I know Spurs were part of that, kind of allowing him to go forward a lot.
Yeah.
Like so many times he was getting up. I think it was the ball from him to Odegaard that led to, I think it's Saka's goal. I just thought was brilliant. Like he again was principled um to the back line towards giving that creativity. And I mean I like what Tony Adams was saying like in the Sky Sports box about like it's the solid base that what they've had, which allows a lot of like the attacking players and flair players to be able to do what they do best, and it gives someone like a Kieran Tierney an opportunity to then go and try to create those chances as well. So for me, I gave him a 7.5. I didn't want to give him an 8 just because I felt that Tomiyasu and Gabby was a bit better than him. Um, Thomas Partey, Thomas Partey and Odegaard, I'm actually gonna give them both 7.5s. For me, these are the two unsung heroes of the game.
Mm.
They were involved in all of the build-up play. Every ball that we won, um, they were part of. Uh, like it was always either Thomas Partey winning the ball, passing it to Odegaard, Odegaard running with it, feeding it out to the wings. And even though both of those players didn't really get a lot of, didn't end up with any type of production, what it was they did all the things that we see in the games and we think yeah, that's good. But when you put all of them together, that's what they really did. So Odegaard, for instance, pressing a lot of the times. He was leading the press. I would easily say 75 to 80% of the time. That kind of spurred Aubameyang to start doing it, and Smith Rowe to do it, and Saka. He was
Mm.
tracking back, working hard. Yeah, he lost the ball a couple of times, but the overall involvement in terms of the build-up play was there, and Thomas Partey was kind of key to that as well.
He was a monster.
He just
He
when
was
the
the
map,
one that foiled Harry Kane and giving the away possession to
yeah,
score the actual the third goal. Yeah,
which is it just shows you how critical that we needed that DM. Like his interceptions and making those tackles, winning the ball. That's something that we've lacked, and he was key to that. So
yeah, it was.
I have to give him a 7.5. Jaco probably. he didn't have a bad game. I need to make this clear, and I'm like, I'm not a Xhaka fan, but
Did you see him give the ball away 6 times in the first half? I was just,
yeah,
when the game started, what is
yes,
he doing?
but
Oh, I was going nuts. But
like,
I think he played better in the second half.
yeah, for me, I gave him a 6.5. I thought he had an okay game. Like you said, he lost the ball several times, making silly fouls as well.
He
He
was
did
in
make
the
some.
second. He was looking to get booked in the second half. I said to him,
I
I
I
said, what is this brother doing?
I don't understand how he didn't get booked. Like, I was
Yeah,
sure Xhaka was gonna get a yellow card. I was like, if he gets a
yeah,
yellow,
me too.
I'll take him off. Like, bring on Maitland-Niles, bring on Sambi overall, but it didn't get to that. He even made some good fouls as well that helped to bring us some
Yeah,
free kicks.
I thought Xhaka played decent in the second half.
But he's a guy that just plays football a bit on the edge for me.
He's
Like
not part of the plan, bro. I mean, Arteta shoehorned him in. He hadn't played for a month. But as I said to a couple of guys, I think I was talking to
mhm,
Kez and I was
mhm,
talking to I can't remember who it was on the forum, but I said to them, he played no part in the recent success. He wasn't in the team on the back end of last season's 5 winning streak. The 3 games this season, he had no part of that. He wasn't in the team. So I know it's nice that people want to say, yes, he's blah, blah, blah. This is our best. No, they were saying this is our best first 11. And I was like, no, it isn't our best. And now he's injured and Sambi's coming back in. We're kind of picking up where we left up from. So,
with, with the whole Xhaka thing, it's like this. Like, my feelings on him hasn't changed. Like, I see what he gives, but for me, it just isn't enough because I think that we have other players that give us the same thing and more. And in the fact that they're younger with a lot more room to grow. Like, we've seen this with Sambi. I still think Maitland-Niles could do a better job in midfield than him as well. And like, I'm happy for it to be a bench player to come up and solidify things, but we definitely shouldn't be reliant on Xhaka in that midfield with Thomas Partey. I think the balance is all wrong with that. But nevertheless, I will say that he didn't have a bad game. It just wasn't as good as the other two midfielders there. Saka, I'm gonna give a 9. For me, he was my joint man of the match.
really?
Brilliant.
Wow.
Yep, yep. I gave, like, created a chance, scored a goal, worked hard in the game, and again, it just shows that, like, the work that's going on at the club right now, everything with him. I thought how he started out the season, you could tell he wasn't 100% fit. And I actually wouldn't have been surprised if Pepe played instead of him today. Against Spurs. I thought actually he might have needed a little bit more managing, needed some rest. And for me, I thought he had a solid game today. Uh, or yesterday against Spurs. So I gave him a 9. Aubameyang, I gave an 8.5. I thought
Did
he
you
had a
see his
good
hold
game.
up play? I ain't seen that in a year. What
No,
was all
it
that
wasn't
hold
even.
up play all about?
It wasn't even. Are you talking about?
I'm talking
Which
about
goal?
his hold up play. So I'm talking about the two balls that came up above, which he headed and nodded down to Thomas Partey when he had his back to the defender. One time he
Mm.
actually got warned for the defender. They gave away a free kick because the referee was saying the Aubameyang was actually holding the defender. But I'd never seen him do that before in his life.
He must be.
The goal that he scored, he was inside the D, picked up the ball with his back to the defense, played the ball out wide to Smith Rowe, ran 40 yards, and received the ball from Smith Rowe to tap it into the. He started the move that created his own goal. I've never seen him with a hold up play like that before in his life. Never
Because,
seen it.
like the thing, he must be working on it. The one thing that I like was, I think it was his goal that came because it the ball comes to him and he he flicks it onto Smith Rowe,
Yeah, it's
and
one touch football. Bang,
it,
yeah.
it was perfect. Like, he had
Yeah,
the
so
right
quick.
weight, right balance of it. Smith Rowe was just legging it down. Like, no way was Spurs ever gonna catch him. He comes
Yeah.
in, crosses it in. Slips it back, and Aubameyang just slots it in, and it's just it was really good attacking football. Um, and I don't know why. Maybe it's because Spurs kind of played into it and gave that kind of room, but that's the kind of one touch layoffs. Like I think he should be given. Like I don't expect him just because of his frame to be like holding the ball up like Giroud, but those one-touch layoffs are what Giroud was perfect at. Like, and if he could add that to his game, of Aubameyang, then I'm more than happy for Lacazette to ride the bench.
Lacazette was, yeah. I mean, Aubameyang. Based on Aubameyang's performance yesterday, there's no way I'm dropping him. He scored 5 goals this season, and he
Yep.
played. I think a lot of people missed what I said last week in the Burnley game. I thought he played really well, and
Hmm.
I gave him a 6.5. I thought Aubameyang played really well. I thought he worked hard. He looks interested. He's getting into the right positions. Um, he's just a busier player, and he's starting to press. I mean, his pressing yesterday was very impressive. In
Yep.
all across the board, Odegaard, Smith Rowe, Saka, Aubameyang, that front four that we've got pressing on the top line, they were dominating. They were dominating,
I
and
agree.
I loved what he did. I loved what he did.
I agree. I agree. Like I'm loving the performance, and it just tells you like it's really it really comes a matter of willpower on why all of that wasn't happening before. Like,
Mm.
why wasn't he? There were times I saw Aubameyang running the channels on the right, um, and then allowing other players to slot into that forward role. Yeah, and I'm like, where was all of this before? This is what we wanted from him, and I still don't know why that all of that wasn't happening. Because what
Well,
we're seeing right,
I said it. I said it last night. From my perspective, and after the first 3 games, I've always been saying it was the most frustrating period for me because while everybody was losing their rag, I was sitting in the back, not saying much because I knew you got 9 players out. What you're starting 5 players under the age of 21. What can you do? And everyone was screaming and losing their head. They're not even thinking about the intangibles. But we knew, and big shout out to Jared because Jared's watching this as well. We
mm,
were all saying, wait till the players come back, wait till Norwich. They'll all be back. They'll all be fit. They'll all be recovered from COVID. That's 9 players, and since then we've looked fantastic. We've not lost the game.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and I mean, who knows? Who knows? Like, my prediction was 9 points after 10 games. And the way how Arsenal are going, I mean, I think Ebony might be right. Something like we might end up with like 18 points or something like that if we
yeah. Well,
keep
we've
going the way
already
how
got
we are.
9. Yeah, we've already got 9 with 4 games left to go.
Yeah.
Or
So
is it? Or is it? Hold on. Is that right? No, 5 games to go. Yeah.
yeah,
Was
four
that our
four
sixth
games.
game? Oh,
Yeah,
this is
yeah, that was our
confusing.
sixth game.
Okay, yeah, so
Sixth
four
game.
games to go. Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I think we got Palace next. That
Brighton. We got
Palace. We
Brighton
got
and then
Brighton.
Palace. Yeah.
Brighton and
Brighton
Palace.
is
Okay.
5:30 this Saturday.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so
All
we'll
right.
be streaming that because that's an away game.
That would be interesting because they're playing today, and I heard something like if Brighton win, they'll be top of the table.
Yeah, some
Uh,
madness. Actually, has the game
yeah,
already started?
yeah. It should have started at 8.
Yeah, the score's 0-0 after 22 minutes. So we'll keep an eye on that as it goes on.
Okay, but yeah. And then Smith Rowe for me, he was also my joint man of the match. I gave him a 9, as well. Again, another goal and assist. Loving the work ethic from a lot of the youngsters. I'm a big fan of players that come through our academy.
Yeah.
I would sacrifice most of the players that we buy for our young players, and that's my biasness. So when I see them doing well, I'm like, that's what it's all about. Developing players, giving them a chance, and just seeing the fruits of all of their hard work. Because I think that without European football, I think one of the things that people have been talking about is, can Saka and Smith Rowe those can they do the business just focusing in the Premier League and yeah,
Mm.
the League Cup and FA Cup and stuff like that. But we've mainly used like the Europa League group stages to get players like match fit and confidence going and help boost their stats. So for me, this helps him out massively overall. And Arteta, I gotta say that I gotta give him a 10.
Yeah, the
I
only reason why I dropped it is because he started Xhaka, so that's why I dropped mine. Otherwise he would have got a 10. Did you guys
I
hear Bertram? Did you guys hear Bertram gave him a 9?
Oh, he did. I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
have to. You have
yeah.
to because the reason why Arsenal won this game was because he got his tactics spot on, and because Nuno didn't get his tactics right. That's really what it comes down to. And Arsenal had perfect execution of those tactics. That's why we won the game. It'd have been great to get a clean sheet, but Arteta got it right, and you can't
Yeah,
take that
which
away
all we
from him.
needed to do was win by 2 goals.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so that I'm loving that. I'm looking forward to the next game, Brighton. Brighton will be something, especially earlier on in the season. The Danny Welbeck reunion, Danny Welbeck has found a new voice with Brighton. Like he's scoring goals, he's doing well there. Of course, we got more pay or less pay according to Guendouzi, but I'm looking forward to it. So I interested to see what the team lineup looks like. I don't. Do you know how long Jack is going to be out?
They have. They're not going to get the MRI results until tomorrow, so we won't know till
Okay.
then. But
Okay.
it's fair to be long term. I look. I'm not going to say anything bad because it's an injury, but as he can take as long as he wants because we need to go back to the team that we've been having success with in those 3 games. So thank you for your services yesterday, Xhaka, but the team need to move on. The new team, this nucleus, and this confusion with poor Thomas Partey has not been able to settle with a midfielder yet. And what frustrated me yesterday is Sambi's this revelation, this new Fabregas, which the Edu and Vincent Company are talking about, and you don't even start him against Chelsea and Spurs. I mean, like, those are the games you want to see what he can. How do we know what he can do against big teams if we don't play him in the team? So anyway, he'll play. He'll play
Apollo,
now.
Apollo. I hope there's a method to the madness with offering this guy a new contract. I
Oh,
really
it's
do.
just ridiculous.
I don't get why they did it. I really don't.
Yeah, so some people are
Because
saying maybe because it's trying to get him more value, but I mean the guy's barely worth 15 million as it
what
is.
do you mean?
We couldn't
His
even get rid
birthday
of
was
him for that.
his birthday's today. Happy birthday, Xhaka. I think he's 29 now. 20.
Damn.
Like how much more value is it you're gonna get from a 29-year-old? Like
Yeah,
really?
I have no idea. All right, so thanks for your player ratings. Let's go to
No
GG
worries. No
says
worries.
Ramsdale 8.5, Tomiyasu 10, Ben White 8, Gabby 8, Tierney 7, Party 8, Odegaard 8, Xhaka 7, Saka 9, Aubameyang 8, Smith Rowe 9, and Arteta 10. And then he says Arteta. He always says that.
Come,
Oh man,
come
I'm just
on.
not even
Like,
gonna go
you
there.
got,
I'm not even
you
gonna.
gotta give
I'm
him
just.
credit for a good
What
game.
the hell,
Hey,
man?
Greg, come on now. Like if we had lost like 4-0, all right, then I'd be able to understand. But
Hey,
come
look at Ebony's face. Ebony like she's gonna slap him. Anyway, G says, got to say, I'm actually ashamed and well, yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you. But remember, Jamaica Reggae Boys is coming after America, man. They're coming after Team USA. Got to say that I'm actually ashamed and thankful that despite my moanings for our supposedly underwhelming new signings, they completely overachieved beyond my expectations. That's fair. And in these past few weeks, I've got to, for this, I got to apologize. Bro, not a lot of fans will say that, man. Yeah, humble. Kuke says the team played like they're burdened with glorious purpose. Special mention to Tomiyasu, absolutely bossed the right side, won so many duels and so many interceptions. Song was simply in his pocket. Yeah, Kuke, I don't know. I can't see your player rating. Sorry, bro. I really can't. I don't know where they are. PW, a subscriber to Neomis's channel. Big shout out to you, my friend. Says, hey guys, Uber would have been 9 if he controlled that amazing passing party. Yeah, I know it was crazy, but for all the work he did and the pressing, and that's the thing with me. It's like Bertram normally says, if he doesn't score goals and he's not playing well, but Burnley showed us that he was playing well, and yesterday we saw an example of that. His all-round game, his build-up play, his passing, his work rate, his defensive playing, his pressing, everything was exceptional. That's how you lead as a captain. So I'm really, really happy with that. And he also says, Kuke, totally agree with that. The first in a long time we've played the Arsenal way, passing in the box, cutting defenses apart. Agreed. G says, Neil miss me too. That's why it's frustrating to hear Bertrand bash the kids. And PW says, Arteta took too long to make subs. He did, but I think the strategy there was, and somebody asked me this question yesterday, we pressed the hell. We dominated Spurs with the press, and Smith Rowe's legs was gone. Them man, they was tired. They were hanging on after 70 minutes. That's why Spurs got back into the game. So that's not sustainable at that level. We know that because of what Liverpool went through, and Liverpool had to get themselves a squad. And what I liked about it is that after 70 minutes, you got Sambi on the bench, you got Maitland-Niles, you got Lacazette, you got Pepe. Now, those guys are not your best defensive options, but at least they'll be able to give you much needed energy. So, yeah. D, big shout out to D, sis. Peace to 101. Just a quick pass through. Bless up. And to you too, bro. Good thanks to your comments yesterday. And D says, could have been a 5 or 6 had Arteta made subs around the 16th minute. Agreed. Andrew says, R. Kelly found guilty on all counts.
Not surprised.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Tony, big shout out to you, Tony. Tony, if you want to come on the show, because after Ebony, we're going to talk about the 5 biggest changes and expectations moving forward. So big shout out to you, Tony. Ebony, you got the conch.
Okay. Now I have to make an apology to Mr. Ramsdale. Ramsdale. When he was when he was about to be signed, and everyone was like, "Oh, we're getting Ramsdale," and I looked at his record with Sheffield United. I thought, why? And we already sold a good goalkeeper. I think the shot that he saved from Kane yesterday, when he actually literally got on the ground and pushed the ball to the side, I thought he could have caught that, but the fact that he pushed it to the side, didn't really matter. The fact that he has an eye for a pass, he can play from the back, and for me, he showed leadership at the back, which is something that we've been missing since Martinez was sold.
Did you see him screaming at the defense?
Yes.
There was one time he walked up to Ben White and pushed him on his chest. Ben White nearly fell back down, but he was so pumped up and so full of energy. That reminds me of Emi Martinez. I'm sorry,
that's
guys.
That's the kind of goalkeeper you want. You need to, we now, I can firmly say that we now have a goalkeeper that's actually leading the back line,
leader,
and commanding what the back line does. We've not had that since Martinez. So for the fact that he has showed leadership, he kind of reminds me of Martinez in the sense that he's actually agile. He's like Inspector Gadget. He can actually jump for those balls coming in. I give him a 9. Tommy, he has, for me right now, I'm saying this right now, he is our best right back that we've had in a long time.
Not only is our best right back, he might be the best right back in the league if he carries on at this pace.
If he carries on that pace, and if he has players in his pocket, and he owns that right hand side throughout the whole of the season, I'll cook him his favorite meal. That's how good he was. That's how good he is, and that's how good he was yesterday. Somebody must have told him in his ear, look, this is like a big rivalry in the UK. So you need to be on your game. And he was. I give him a 9. Ben White, the fact that, he had to be told what to do by Ramsdale, to wake up, he didn't have a bad game.
He had a fantastic game. Like me and Niama says, the passes that he had through the backfield.
He hit pass.
He hit 3 passes that just completely nullified the Spurs defense. This guy's a weapon.
The Spurs players are like, where did the ball go?
Yeah, Ben White is a weapon. This was his best game as an Arsenal player.
Yeah, I'm going to give him an 8. Gabby, I give him an 8 as well. We've missed him. We've actually missed him in central defense. Yeah. The fact that Gabby he can defend. He has that area. That area is his own, and the fact that he commands his area, and that's what I like in a defender. And they do say that in front of a good goalkeeper, you got a good defense, and he did his job. So I'm going to give him an 8. Tierney. As I always say, the left-hand side is his. Every single time he runs out that left-hand side and he crosses those balls, what his purpose is. He has an eye for a pass. The only thing about Tierney is that he's constantly injured. But when he's not injured and when he's on his game, he's the best left back in the Premier League. I don't care what anyone says. He's better than Robertson. I don't care. If you want to come at me, come at me. He is the best left back in the country. I'm giving him an 8. Partey, I'm going to give both Partey and Odegaard an 8 as well. I think they're a very good partnership. The fact that one thing that I want to see Partey do is score a goal. But
he nearly succeeded
and
yesterday.
And he nearly did yesterday.
Yeah.
Odegaard, I think they make a very good partnership. I think, the relationship between those two yesterday was just like, you do this, I do that. I go forward, you stay back. That's what I want to see in the central midfield partnership. We've not had that for a long time. And, as you said, Apollo, it's, who is his best partner? Who is Partey's best partner? We don't know yet. So the fact that, we've got Odegaard, we've got Sambi as well. Okay, let's wait until Sambi gets back and see what he does. But those two in midfield, they bossed it yesterday. They bossed they won the battle yesterday of midfield. I'm giving them both an 8. Xhaka. Listen. To all you fan boys and girls out there of Xhaka, listen to me. I don't care how well he plays. I mean, look. How many times in a game any game like this, are you going to give the ball away? I thought that at one stage, having given the ball away, he was going to give him a goal because that's the kind of player that we have in Xhaka. And I'm not saying that we've not seen him play well. It's just that he has this annoying habit of giving the ball away in key areas. He's slow. He's too indecisive as far as I'm concerned. He'll give away a free kick. He'll cause an injury. This is a type of player that's always 1 second away from a red card. I'm giving him a 5. I don't care what anyone says. He's getting a 5. You cannot in any game. I don't care if it's this rivalry or any game, you cannot give the ball away in the rate that he does. He gets a 5. Saka, I'm going to give him a 9. He took his goal well. I can't say much more than that. The guy's a threat, and Tottenham saw the heaviness of his threat yesterday. So I'm giving him a 9. Aubameyang, for the first time in a very long time, he has held the ball up. He's pressed. Nobody knows where this has been for the past year. Maybe he's had things on his mind. The fact that his mother was unwell. Outside of that, I don't know. But I don't know whether it's the weight of the Arsenal Tottenham fixture. But he is the player that his performance yesterday reminded me of that game against Manchester United January last year, where he pressed, where he defended, where he ran back, where he tracked back, where he, ran down the side, where he did a multitude of things. And that's what I want to see from him throughout the season and for the rest of the time he's at Arsenal. So I'm going to give him an 8.5. Smith Rowe, that boy has energy. That boy, his
best game as an Arsenal player yesterday.
The boy terrorized their defense. Tottenham.
He said it was the best day of his life.
Of course it would. Of course it would be, because it's a big rivalry.
He not meet a black woman yet.
Yeah. I didn't know his father was black, by the way. But he is another player that terrorized the defense, Tottenham's defense. He gets a 9. Arteta, I'm going to give him I'm going to give him an 8.5. I don't like the fact that he still takes long to make substitutions. Like you, Apollo, he put Xhaka in the team. Otherwise, the tactics were right. The fact that, he got the tactics right.
Yeah, spot on, man.
Give him an
Absolutely
8.
spot on. And for once, the players were doing what he was telling them to do. And if you guys were inside the stadium and heard them screaming and shouting at them to keep the tempo up, because there were times that they were getting a little bit tired, but this is why he trains them the way he does, and he expects them to be able to do what he's asked them to do on the pitch. And it was just glorious to see how animated. I think yesterday, the person I was most happiest for was Arteta. He was the person that I was the most happiest for in that victory. It really was. Kuke says, so in the spirit of constructive criticism, I think we should enjoy this. I said that to a couple of guys on the forum today. You should be happy for now. If not, you will keep finding faults in everything, and that will just be miserable. Oh, are you aiming at somebody, mate? And he says, Ebony, the calmness and ability to use the foot of Ramsdale is really better than Leno. This is the reason why we can build that play from the back easily.
He's better at the back than Leno. Leno can't play from the back, full stop.
And G says, I just can't understand why we don't do this every week. Like I said to Neomis, because this team has just started and we've been winning every game with this team. This is his first 11, or 10, if you like. And he goes, at least for now, you can say Arsenal are on an upward trajectory regarding the form of the team. Spurs had a good start, but now they look awful. I think that's just Harry Kane. I think the manager's got a part to do that, and I think it's Kane. Kez says, back 5, all get 8. Xhaka 7, Partey 8, Smith Rowe 9, Saka 8.5, Martin Odegaard 8.5, Aubameyang 8. Martin Odegaard set the tempo, led the charge or something. He's amazing pressing. He's our best pressing player in the team, Martin Odegaard. Something I talked about when I spoke about his stats to you guys a couple of weeks ago, when I said he's one possession back in the final third, nearly most than all the rest of our team. It says it was a good all-round performance. Again, Andrew says best transfers, Gabriel and Tommy, followed by Partey. Randy, big shout out to you, Ramsey Richards Ramsdale. God, that's a tongue twister to say all those three things. Randy says Ramsdale will be knocking on that England door. Agreed. And remember, they already took him. He was part of the squad, wasn't he? In the summer. Kuke says, Andy, I agree. Saka back to form. Partey looks like a different player than last season. You know, when you saw it, it was when we were covering the games in pre-season. All of us, me, Tony, Neil Miss, we were like, what is going on with Thomas Partey? He looks amazing. Andrew says, nearly forgot Ramsdale is a solid acquisition. Kuke says, let us take a moment to laugh at the Spurs fans and Levy, who thought they had won the lottery by forcing Kane to stay. He isn't interested and won't be sold for anywhere near 100 million. 100 million, you'd be lucky to get 60 million.
He wasn't even in the game yesterday.
Yeah, because it's all up here, Ebony.
Apart from that one chance that was battered away by Ramsdale, he was not in the game.
It's all up here. Randy says he was dirty yesterday. I'm surprised he stayed on the pitch. Kuke says Dele is done at Spurs, and so is Dombele. Neither, it seems, have any desire to play football anymore. Andrew says Arteta is grooming Xhaka to be his number 2. I think that's Santi Cazorla, myself personally. Kuke said, yep. PW says Xhaka was lucky not to be carded. I know, it was almost like he was begging the ref to be booked. He did hit a Spud player in the face at one point. Freddie, what's going on, Freddie? Freddie says, sat in the front of you, mate. Oh, yeah, brilliant. What's going on, Freddie? Nice ones. Big shout out to you. Big shout out to your family as well. And big shout out to all of the Arsenal Gooners in my section of 109. Again, proper things, bro. Thanks for supporting the channel. PW says, was it Arteta's tactics or the passion from... I think it was both. Yeah, I think it was definitely both. Tony, how you doing, bro?
I'm good, brother. I'm very well. Still
Buzzing.
feeling the buzz from yesterday's win.
Excellent. So, guys, we're just going to talk about now the 5 things that we learnt from yesterday, and I'm going to go around the panel, and I want to hear your, opinions on what you think yourself of these things that we learnt. The first question I want to pose is: was it Spurs or was it us? Now, what you'd like to take into consideration is that Spurs were top of the league after 3 games, and obviously, I think we were still in a period where we was moving from August into September. And I think the longer Harry Kane has gone on, the more despondent he's become as a player. And the more, how shall I word this correctly? The more...
He looks disinterested.
the more spiteful he's become to the chairman. So, reality has set in for Harry Kane. And he's realised that Daniel Levy has done him in. Made a promise to him last year that if he stayed at Spurs another year, he would move on. And we saw this happen with Wilfred Zaha. They made an agreement, and then they said, 40 million was his valuation. And when the summer came around, the owner put an 80 million price tag on him, and nobody would touch him with a barge pole. Same thing with Harry Kane. They were talking about 100 million for Harry Kane, which Man City was quite happy to pay. And then all of a sudden, some foolishness like 150 million. At one point, we even heard 175 million. Man City just said, heck no, see ya later, gone, not interested. And basically, what we're seeing now is Harry Kane sticking up 2 fingers at Daniel Levy. So I think it's a little bit of both. But for me, guys, before I go around the panel, for me, I thought Tottenham improved mildly after the break, but it was mostly because Arsenal were tired from the intensity. But in the Premier League era, Tottenham have managed 2 victories at the Emirates, and only one of them, the first victory, was in the first year that we moved to the Emirates. So let's not get it twisted here. This team doesn't do well at the Emirates Stadium. I think we got to keep that into perspective. I talked to Andy about that when we did the preview. I said, mate, you've only won once in the last 13 years, and the first time was when we moved to the stadium. So we got to put it into perspective. So let me hear from you, Neon Miss first. No, actually, let me go to Tony, because Tony hasn't spoken yet in the stream. Tony, was it us or was it Spurs?
I'm going to say it's a bit of both. Yeah. Clearly, Spurs weren't anywhere near the kind of force that we know they can be. They had 3 good results to start the season. Of course, the first game for them was a great result. Then, of course, they've come crashing down since then. But let's be honest with ourselves. That wasn't the Spurs that we're going to probably see at White Hart Lane in 6 months' time, or whatever period it is between now and the next game. So I'd be remiss if I turned around and said, oh, this was all Arsenal. We're obviously so much better than they are. Let's write them off. They're going to be in the bottom half of the table, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm not that.
Really, Tony?
No, they're not. You'd be an idiot if you just write Spurs off now and say, oh, that's it. Their season's done. They're going to be in the bottom half of the table. Because that's where they're at. They're in the bottom half of the table.
Yeah.
Yeah? And if you think that's where Spurs will end up, I'd be very surprised if they end up there.
Well, after what I saw...
I still think they'll be one of the teams that we could overtake in terms of when we looked at the predictions for the end of the season, and we went, well, we finished 8th. How many of the teams above us could we overtake? Well, I was looking at West Ham and I was looking at Spurs. The rest of them, I don't think we're better than them.
So, Tony, can you look at this grid which I showed everybody now? I walked through some of the stuff with Andy.
Yeah.
But I think we have a point where you're talking about the laziest team in the league right now. And either...
6 games in, their position shows that. So, I get
They're devoid of leadership. They're devoid of tactics. Their midfield are not interested. Their captain and talisman has given up on them.
It's not gonna last, Apollo. It's not gonna last. They'll come out of this slump. They're in a slump, And let's be honest, three games ago, we was them. Yeah,
but we had a reason.
Oh,
we were missing 9 players.
yeah,
we had a reason.
At the same time, we were them. Everybody was like, "Oh, this is it. Arteta out. We've had enough of all these players. Blah blah blah. It's doom and gloom. We're gonna end up fighting for relegation." And 3 games later, everybody's all of a sudden just forgot that we was Spurs 3 games ago. Literally 3 games ago, we were Spurs. So as quickly as we could turn it around, they could turn it around. And it's not because their players are not good enough. Their players are good enough. Oh, that's gone in.
It's gone in.
Yeah, that's old.
It's halftime. 1-0
Yeah,
to Palace.
halftime. It's 1-0.
Oh,
Good.
Zaha scored.
Oh wow. Okay. Oh wow. Okay.
When you saw my face contorting, that was when the foul, because the foul was a barge of the shoulder in the box. And it was like, what? You think you could get away with that? And yeah, he scored it.
Excellent.
But yeah, no, I believe half of it is to do with Spurs being really poor at the moment, as your stats prove, and us being really good, which I'm pleased about, and I'm going to celebrate that for the whole week because we don't have a game for another week. But come Saturday, it all starts again.
Yeah.
Brighton.
I had to slap up. I had to slap up 2 or 3 sourpusses on the forum today who just refused to enjoy the win. Yeah, and I said to them, remember me and you last night, Tony? No, me and Tony, I came on and I said to Tony, we both agreed that times like this is few and far between. Yeah, Premiership's too competitive now. You know, you don't know. You got to enjoy it, man.
Yeah.
It don't last long. You got to enjoy it, man. And a few sourpuss, I just had to put them right in the forum. Mind you, Bobby Jones, big shout out to you, Bobby Jones, in the forum. Bobby was well up for it today and was really happy with the result. It was good to see. Neo Miss, Spurs or us? Was that an Arsenal display yesterday? Did we take the fight out of them? If we did, then it was all Arsenal.
I think it was a combination of both. I think what it is Arteta got his tactics right. Absolute spot on. He out-tacticked Nuno all day. And if he does that again in the second half of the season, then he will beat Nuno again. But it was also Nuno getting his tactics completely wrong and not even addressing it until the second half. So if you want to look at it from logically, in the first half, we won 3-0. But in the second half, even though we still played the same way, still played very well, great play by Arsenal, Spurs scored in the second half and we didn't. Because I'm thinking when we're 3-0 up, I'm like, okay, we're going to get into big numbers now. We're getting into 4, 5, it's like 6-0. This is what I want to see. And that 4th and 5th goal never came. Because if they had come, then I would have been like, you know what? We're just better than Spurs. But now I have to be balanced with it and be like, well, Spurs look better. They address their issues. But Arsenal...
Okay, so let me hit you with this. Yeah, let me hit you with this. Ramsdale made one of the best saves I've seen in a long time. Absolutely superb. And another goalkeeper would have looked at that and just not had gone for it because it looked like it was going over. It just horribly dipped. And if he didn't jump for it, we would have suffered for it. And Kane, I thought Kane should have had a penalty as well. I thought it was a penalty. So the game could have easily finished 3-3. So I just want to keep that into perspective. It could have easily been a draw.
And the thing is, I agree with you there. But I mean, the thing is, it all comes down to you could only beat what's put in front of you. And that's what Arsenal did. So I might lean it to more on the Arsenal side, but I can't completely disassociate what Spurs is, because like you said, that the Kane foul should have been a penalty, and I know players were getting tired, which is why I thought maybe we should have made some substitutes. I was surprised not to see Martinelli come on. I felt that his work rate, him being.
Bro, I've been telling the African Gooner that last year Tony Bertram didn't agree with me when I said the biggest disappointment. Remember, we all had our end of the season thing, and we all went around the panel, and you all told me who was your biggest disappointment. And I told you, lot, my biggest disappointment last season was Martinelli, and all of you lot went into a frenzy. And that's because at the time of 2 years ago, he was on the same stance as Hadland. Both of them came on the scene. Both of them were 18. Both of them scored 10 goals. And I said to you guys, watch next year. Watch these two players fly. Martinelli went bang, down into a hole, injuries, average performances, and Hadland ended up scoring 37 goals. And I said to you, lot, the biggest... Martinelli is the one who needs the big season this season, because if it doesn't come off of him, he'd have been there 3 years and it never even got anywhere near his first year form. Yeah, but I haven't seen him play the way how he played since his first year here.
But don't you think a lot of that has to do with that he's not even getting on the pitch?
Yeah,
like
I know.
Since being out, and that's my kind of frustration with it. Like, I mean, even if he doesn't score a goal, like if I could just see that energy, what he showed us in his first season, I know that will cause teams problems. I know that there's a team that's going to do something stupid, foul him in the box, and that's an Arsenal penalty right there. And you know that would be game, set, and match for
he's on 90 grand a week.
Yeah, and I really don't get why we're not bringing him on as a regular substitute. You know, like, listen, Smith Rowe was great, but it was quite easy to see he was getting tired. Like, bring on fresh legs, you know, like make some of the other players like happier. That's probably my only criticism with Arteta, but I mean,
it could be that I talked to an agent about this, got about 3 weeks or something, and he said to me they're scared. They're pampering him in Cotton Wool. Yeah, because every time they play him, he gets injured. Yeah. I think there could be a level. I heard Arteta talking about that with another player, and I can't remember who was the player. Was it Gabriel? I think it was Gabriel after his injury in the summer with Brazil. And when he said that, I thought, I wonder if that's what he's doing with Martinelli. They're scared because he's such a big talent, and they don't want to mash him up. So I think they're protecting him. Yeah, I mean, maybe I might be wrong.
No, the thing is, you're probably right, but I'm like, just 15 minutes here, 15 minutes, 20 minutes here. Like, I mean, I can't remember the last time I saw like Martinelli in the Premier League. You know, and if not Martinelli, Pepe. Like Pepe, give him a chance. I think for me, I think this is a big season for Pepe because, you know, this will be his third year. You know, we got to start talking about new contracts or...
Yeah. He hasn't got off to the best start this season. 5 games and no goals. Although that Norwich goal was all him. He hit the post twice in that game and his effort was causing... But he's averaged 1 goal in every 3 games. He's got a striking stat for playing. And now this is the first time they've actually given him a string of games and he hasn't done anything, and that's why I'm Pepe's biggest fan. But the way I saw Smith Rowe and Saka play yesterday, and in the preview with Andy, I said to all Arsenal fans, Arteta needs to fix those flanks, because when Pepe was on the left and Saka was on the right, that's when we played our best football last year. And it's almost like he heard me, because he put Saka on the right where he's most effective. But instead of putting Pepe on the left, he put Smith Rowe there, and Smith Rowe had the game of his life. So what I'm trying to say is, if this is going to work moving forward, then Pepe's lost his chance. It's harsh.
So let me ask you something. Do you think that they might cash in for him? Because when Arteta first came in, you know, there were talks that like Pepe wasn't really his cup of tea, and it took Pepe a long time to get a chance.
So I think that they probably would. If I was to choose yes or no, I would say yes. And the reason why I would say that is because as much as me and Bertram have been talking about how well Pepe is improved as a defensive player, you're not going to see a defensive performance as what you saw from Smith Rowe yesterday. You're not going to see that performance from Pepe. Smith Rowe was like a man on fire. Yeah, you know Denzel Washington, you know them man there. Yeah, he was like a man on fire. He just turned Super Saiyan, Goku style, and that blonde hair just went whoosh. and all I saw was he never stopped running. He was the pressing. It was the complete game, and I ain't seen Pepe like that. I ain't seen
I
Pepe
have.
play like that,
I have.
off the ball. And
I have.
you're gonna have to bring that to the table if you're gonna upset a player in that 11 right now.
I
And it
agree
don't just
with you. I
yeah,
agree with you, Apollo. But I will say, I do believe Pepe's got that in him. I have seen him work his socks off back and forth. And you know what? He's actually way stronger than Emil Smith Rowe is.
Oh yeah, Tony.
Oh, yeah.
Pepe's the most talented player in the team. As
Yeah,
far
but he's also quite strong physically. So
He's got some
defensively,
good
he
hold-up
should
play.
be better than Smith Rowe is. Because let's be honest, Smith Rowe, you could blow him over.
Yeah.
But
Smith Rowe's a bit. He's balanced. His equilibrium isn't there. I see him go to the floor very, very easily.
His equilibrium is brilliant because he glides on the ball.
Yeah.
So that is great equilibrium. But it's a bit like Messi when Messi was in his youth. When he was young, if all he had to do was nudge him, and he would fly because he didn't have his man muscles.
Yeah.
And that's Smith Rowe. He doesn't have man muscles. Pepe, on the other hand, if you charge him shoulder to shoulder, he'll knock you over.
He'll let you know.
I've seen that happen. So all I'm saying is, I wouldn't write off Pepe, and I do believe he has that in his game to be able to play box to box. He's gonna look different to Smith Rowe.
Yeah.
They're gonna be two totally different types of players.
So guys,
If you get them both playing box to box, you got a dangerous setup.
So that being said, next week we could go back to a single pivot, which still means no Sambi, and we might go back to the Burnley game where Smith Rowe replaces Xhaka in the middle, and Smith Rowe plays a kind of in a single pivot. Then you'll have Partey sitting in front of the back four, and then you'll have Odegaard and Smith Rowe in front of him. Then you can put Pepe back into the team, hopefully on the left, and then Saka on the right and Aubameyang in the middle, and you pretty much got the same kind of balance. I know what he was trying to do against Burnley. I think because it was fresh, the feeling of it was difficult. But look, we beat Burnley at Turf Moor. So did it work? Yes. Did it look good? Well, we saw some signs.
Nah, it didn't look nice.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it's a work in progress. Ebony, was it us or Spurs?
I think it was both. Yes, Arteta got his tactics correct. Nuno got his tactics wrong. Although in saying that, Tottenham did have a couple of good chances. I mean, there was one that hit the crossbar. And also, Kane's, effort. But that's really it. I mean, the thing is, Tottenham got into the game in the 75th minute.
Yeah.
And that's when, yes, we did look a bit lethargic. And yes, that's when, we needed reinforcements. We needed substitutions. So that's the only reason why Spurs actually were able to get back in. And Son scored his goal. But apart from that, although we won and although we had Spurs in our pockets, and we won the battle of the midfield, we can't take away the fact that Tottenham did have chances. Will it be the same at the other end? Who knows? Are Spurs going downhill? Well, long may it continue, but as Tony said, they will be back. That they'll. They've lost 3 games on the trot now, and they've conceded 9 goals. So their next game, they'll probably look at the last 3 games and go, "Oh, right, we've conceded 9 goals in 3 games," and then they'll use the next game as the impetus to go on. But I don't know who they've got next, but the thing to remember is that they did have chances. We can't take that away, and we did look tired, and maybe that's something that Arteta needs to address the next time. If players are looking tired, and you can see they're looking tired, get them off. But and another thing as well, I've been saying for the longest time, as you can all attest to, play the children. Okay.
Yeah, Spurs have got Villa at home, which is going to be a horrible game for them,
Oh,
and then they've got Newcastle away.
Yeah, play the kids. I've been saying that for a long time, and yesterday, you know, we hadn't our team was average what 24, 22, 24.
24, yeah, 24. Yeah.
So you know, so the fact that you know the kids were hungry, it just goes to show that you know that is the trajectory that we should go down. Plus having some experience as well, and I would like to see Pepe back in a formation that is well suited to his game. You know, he has to play on the left. If you're going to play him on the left, put Saka on the right, and maybe put, I don't know, Smith Rowe in a number 10 role. I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, yesterday's game, it was partly us because, you know, we played well. We had them in our back pocket, and we just terrorized it every single part of their pitch, of their side of the pitch, if you like.
So Ebony, number 2 is pace. Again, 5 things that we learned. Obviously, number 2 for me, urgency and pace. Now, this team has been riddled with slow build-up play for as long as I can remember. Long. And Xhaka, Ceballos, El Nene, a lot of players have been at fault for that.
Yeah.
But what I saw yesterday from Martin Odegaard, Aaron Ramsdale, Ben White, and shall I say Gabriel? Well, Gabriel had a couple of passes, but more so Smith Rowe picking the ball up in deep areas and running with the ball at his feet.
Saka as well.
Yeah, I mean, the moving the ball upfield has just transformed the overall tempo of the team. It is far quicker right now.
But we've got pacey players in our team anyway. You know, Saka is pacey, Smith Rowe is pacey. We've seen the fact that you know Ramsey could play from the back. That's pacey enough for me because if you're able to get the ball and quickly see where you can actually get the ball to, which player to get the ball to. That's urgency because it's a case of all right, okay, I see you. Here's the ball. That's what we've missed in a goalkeeper. But outfield, we have enough pacey players. I think the slowest player on the field that we had yesterday was Xhaka.
Yeah, but remember what I said to Neomis that the reason why Aaron Ramsdale's name is in there when I put on urgency and pace is because you see. When Arteta talks about playing the ball out the back, doesn't mean you have to play a square pass to your left back or your right back.
Exactly.
It means that you play it means that you pass the ball out of the back. Passing the ball could be to anybody. Yeah. And those 40-yard passes he was hitting to Saka, and you know, they were in a 3-man press. That 40-yard pass, it nullifies that 3-man press. And all Saka did was turn, beat his man, and bang, he was gone.
Exactly.
So that's coming from the goalie.
Exactly. And that's and like I said, you know, that's the kind of thing that we've missed in our goalkeeping. You know, it was ever since, and I keep mentioning Martinez's name, but that's what we've missed in a goalkeeper since, you know, we don't have that with Leno.
No, we don't.
We don't have that urgency and pace with Leno. What we have with Leno is dilly-dally, you know, dawdling. Let me caress the ball with my foot for about 5 seconds, and then when I see a player from the opposing side, then I'll pass it. That's what we get with Leno. With Ramsdale, you get that quickness. You get that quickness. I see you, whoever you are. There you go, Saka. Now run 40 yards. That's what we get.
So before I go to Tony, D says it's just one game. Can't forget Arteta's mismanagement of players and his dreadful time. Yeah, I know we can't. Yeah, we can't forget it, but that doesn't mean that we're blind to what's going on at the moment. With this first 11, they've won 4 games in a row. Yeah, when he had Odegaard, Smith Rowe, Partey, and Pepe singing on the back end of last year, they won 5 games on a trot. Not only that, but they had the second best record in the Premier League for the whole of the back end of last season. So you're talking about one game. I'm saying it's more than that. D's saying I maintain my stance that he's not the right guy for me to take this team back to the top and competing for the major honors. I respect that, bro. Time will tell. Time will tell. We haven't had a lot of time. It's taken 18 months to get to this point where as I've been saying, this is his goalkeeper, this is his defense. Take out Xhaka, this is his midfield, and he just hasn't bought any strikers yet, which he's going to address next year. Give it time. Patience, my friend, patience. Kuke says, that's harsh, D. You're not giving him time. He needs time. Yeah, I agree. PW says, yep, Spurs are Villa next. Andrew says, fever pitch on BBC Two, now talking about Arsene Wenger. Ooh.
I can watch it on iPlayer.
Yeah, iPlayer. I might pick it up. Randy says, why, if we're building a young team, is he still keeping that slow liability? Bro, I mean, like, man, yeah.
You have to understand, it's quite clear that, you know, Xhaka is one of his favourite players. He's a captain in a team of non-captains.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to give that to the guy. He's a captain in a team of non-captains. Now, actually, we have addressed the captains because now we've got Tierney, who's captain material. Now we have Odegaard, who's a national captain.
Yeah,
now
which I said should be the captain. Yeah.
Now we got Sambi, who is Anderlecht captain. Yeah. So we're slowly beginning to get some people on the pitch who look like they could be captain material.
Ramsdale could
based
be
on,
captain as
and
well.
based on the way
and the two centre backs.
And based on the way Ramsdale was having a go at them at the back four,
Oh,
the midfield,
my God.
He's captain
you'd
material.
say he looks like a captain.
Boy, you know what he reminds me of? I would hate to have it be a defender and feel the wrath of Khan. Yeah, that's like playing. That's like playing in front of Jans Lehmann. Yeah. You know that man's gonna bust your ass if you ain't doing your job.
Can you imagine that glove on your chest? What are you doing?
You know the man's gonna bust your ass if you don't do your job. Tony, so I talked to Ebony about Ramsdale. Tony, agency and pace. Martin Odegaard, one-touch football in the middle of the park when he received the ball.
Yeah.
No sideways, no backways.
Yeah.
One touch, route one football, bang. Everyone's just like, if you saw it from the stands, you're just like, what is going on here? The speed this ball is moving from A to B and C.
Yeah. And you know what I've noticed is, and this I picked up yesterday, Arsenal have become believing in the ability to place the ball into a small space. There was previously, we were looking at an Arsenal team that wouldn't play a ball into a certain man if he had the next man 5 yards ahead of him. Yeah. But now they're like, go on, take that touch. Because it reminds me, Messi, Iniesta, and Xavi used to always do that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
They were like, come on then. Give me the ball. Let me touch it. Let me see what you're going to do when the ball comes in so quickly to my feet and is out of my feet before you've got a chance to even think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to love that, which is why I was so excited at the thought when Fabregas was coming away from Barcelona. I was like, oh my God, if we could get Fabregas and Cazorla, I was like, oh my God,
in the same squad.
We have. And we didn't do it. And we should have done it.
Tony, here's a scary thought. You add an Aouar to that midfield.
So yeah, I'm all for that. Having players who have the confidence. Yeah. So urgency, great. Pace is always great to have. But pace is not on the floor the way you run. Pace
it's the movement of the ball. Yeah, it's there, and it's the movement of the ball. It's knowing where that next pass is before the ball comes to your feet.
It's about like defending. Defending isn't about the fastest defender. Defending is who can place themselves in the best position to get to the ball in time.
So why that ball goes sideways and backwards is because you don't know where that ball's supposed to go going forward.
Exactly.
So
it looks better already. I'm not going to go overboard, but I'm happy with what I see.
Excellent. Neomis, So we've gone with Ramsdale, with Ebony, Odegaard, with Tony. It's the centre backs, urgency and pace, their ability to play the ball into the passing lanes of the final third is strikingly. It's a weapon.
I agree. I agree. I mean, I'm not gonna repeat too much because I think because you guys kind of said it all, but Ramsdale for me just getting that ball out quickly, like, and he gets it quickly to the wings. To kind of help with that. That's the one thing. The reasons why I don't actually like having Xhaka in the team is because he slows down the play so much. Because if you have that urgency in the pace, it actually helps Aubameyang. Because then like a lot of teams will struggle to deal with him in his pace. Now, I mean, he's not Aubameyang of 10 years ago when he was like 20, but he's still quick enough where over 20, 25 yards, he'll still outpace like most defenders. So
Yeah.
the urgency was there from the players, and it all really starts, like you said, from the defense and from that midfield base to be able to kind of really do that. For me, the key thing is just maintaining that and getting the balance right from the midfield for us to be able to do that. And I think we'll kind of be fine. The only thing I think that would hinder that is going to be injuries. Like what does our second 11 look like? Because I mean, when I'm looking at the bench, like, could Maitland-Niles help with that? Like, I don't know. You got an El Nene on the bench in that midfield. Yeah, you got Sambi there that could come in and do that. But I think that's the part that I'm intrigued to see how things will
Yeah,
work.
me
But
too. That's why I mentioned that when I talked about Pepe,
mm,
Lacazette, Maitland-Niles, a few
mhm.
players in there. But we're with you at the moment, Neomis. So we're going to talk about now the 5 things that we learned. Number 3 is our attacking front 4. Now, we've had this conversation last year. Bertram's brought it up quite a lot. And we've talked about the lack of creativity. And Bertram's case, and Bertram made a good point. You have to give him credit. He made a good point saying teams like Liverpool don't have a creative midfield. It's their front players, which is where all the creativity comes from. What I'm seeing now in this team is fluidity and the creativity offered by the 3 attacking midfielders behind Aubameyang. Saka is 20, just turned 20 last week. Odegaard's 22. Smith Rowe's 21. They were excellent on and off the ball. On the ball and off the ball. This attacking front 4 is something which, and that's why we made a point about Pepe. And while Tony says, yeah, he believes that he can be a part of this front 4 is frightening. But the Spurs, speak to any Spurs fan they were not ready for what happened yesterday. We weren't ready for what happened yesterday, and we were Arsenal fans. Yeah, so I'm going to hit you with that one. Attacking front 4. What's your thoughts? Remember, this is 5 things that we learned. We learned that we have a creative front 4.
For me, my thoughts on it is it's about time. But I think that has come really from the individual players themselves. For me, I honestly didn't think that Aubameyang could be part of this front 4. Last season, I talked about the trident, Laka, Saka, and Smith Rowe. Like, I knew Saka and Smith Rowe could do it. But I didn't think Aubameyang could really be part of that. But what we saw yesterday was that Aubameyang wasn't just being static. He was moving around in all those different positions. And you got runners like Smith Rowe running like on the left, coming inside. Saka on the right, coming inside. Sometimes Saka going from right to left. And then Smith Rowe going from left to right. Then in midfield. And then it meant that Aubameyang, he was like, okay, someone's in the middle. I'll go to the right then. And then sometimes he was out on the right. Not a lot, but he was like, it was Saka and Smith Rowe that were making those changes to whereby he was moving around, and it made it difficult for the defense to be able to do that. And the key part to that was Odegaard being the glue, because like Odegaard isn't getting into the box like a lot, so that's why for me it's more of an attacking three, but the glue behind, because Odegaard drops back in central midfield a lot, linking Party with it. Like he's the guy in the middle. I don't
He's
see
the
him in the
cog,
four.
man. He's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
cog.
he's the cog.
Odegaard kept us on the front foot, drifting into channels, picking up the ball in space, which is what Ozil did when he was playing behind Walcott, Sanchez, and Giroud.
But I think with Odegaard, he's better because he naturally could, like, if something happened whereby we were getting a lot of pressure, Odegaard could play in central midfield and I'd feel comfortable about it. Like, I know he has the work rate to do it.
Yeah,
like,
Odegaard's probably better because he presses as better than anyone on the team, whereas Ozil didn't want to really do that. Regardless of all, all his majestic talents, he didn't want to get his hands dirty.
Exactly, and this is why I think if we had, instead of Xhaka, if you had a Maitland-Niles who's a bit of a workhorse in that midfield, I feel like no matter what formation, Tottenham or whoever team, whether Odegaard needs to drop back, I feel like the midfield will be fine. When we're going forward, Odegaard's still going to be the glue. He can go into the number 10 position and still be that link-up play. Tom, you got Partey there for backup. And that's the key part about that attacking four, in that it's got a good midfield base to work off of, and it means that Odegaard could kind of do his things. And I always say he's the unsung hero because a lot of the things that he's doing well, it looks pretty simple, and you wonder why other players can't really do it. He works hard, he recycles the ball really nicely, and it's the right player in the right system. And he has the right balance.
That's why he was our number one summer transfer target. For that reason and that reason only. Ebony, they linked well with each other, worked hard off the ball. They were lightning quick encounters, and their transitional play was, these guys were picking they were picking the right pass all the time.
They were working together as a unit, those front four. They were working together as a unit. When was the last time we saw our front attacking players working as a unit? We're used to, our front players being fed all the time. The fact that, you've got all four of them working in tandem. And I do like the fact that, Odegaard can actually switch between, being a forward attacker, being an attacker and a, midfield at the same time. I actually quite like that. We've not seen that in years, if anything. But the fact is that for a very long time, and I can't remember the last time we actually saw our attacking players working in tandem. I pass to you, you pass to me. I see you. Let me pass it to you. We've not seen that in a very long time, and that's the trajectory that I want to see them. And the fact that Aubameyang, I wasn't expecting him to be as pressing as he was yesterday. I was expecting him to be that player that needed to be fed, if that makes any sense. So the fact is that we have potentially what Liverpool have, in the sense of if our midfield isn't creative, then we have players that are attacking, that can work in tandem and create goals amongst themselves.
Tony, this one's going to be a bit heavy for you, so pay attention. Oh God, let me get this right. Okay, let me get this right. Okay, right, here we go. So let me move Tony up here because I can't see him. Right, Tony, Wayne Rooney and Cristiano Ronaldo have led the Premier League's stance. They have the most assists and goals between them, which is 8 at the age of 21. The second combo in that history, throughout Premier League history, at 21 years old, this is Saka and Smith Rowe. Saka and Smith Rowe have 2 goals between them, 3 shots between them, 2 assists between them, 4 key passes between both of the players, 7 shot creating actions, 4 progressive passes, 10 progressive carries, 6 progressive passes, and 8 touches in the box. So we're talking about a front four that knows how to find the right pass, mentally can see where each other is before they've even got there, and they're clocking assists and goals. It's all happening in the final third.
I don't get those stats at all, bro. I really don't. Those stats reflect what exactly?
Those stats reflect on the
season.
No, that's one game, bro. That's the Spurs game alone.
Wow.
Okay, but I don't. You can't pull stats for one game.
It's not the stat. It's not these. It's the original stat I gave you. That between them, they've created the second most chances and goals in Premier League history at 21 years old. The only two players who have been more productive than them at that age was Rooney and Ronaldo.
So I'm not. Again, I'm still slightly baffled because I'm pretty certain Michael Owen's stats at 17 was ridiculously off the chart.
They were, but who was he playing next to?
I'm pretty certain he scored more goals than Saka and Smith Rowe.
But this isn't about one player. This is about 2 players under the age of 21.
So I don't understand that.
So how to understand this is, if this is what your kids are doing now, what are they going to do in the future?
Yeah.
Because if Ronaldo and Rooney are the template, and we know how their careers, we know what happened with their careers, then you've got 2 special.
We've got upgrades on Smith Rowe and on Rooney and
potentially
Ronaldo.
Potentially. What I'm saying is,
I'm not going to buy into that one yet. I'm not going.
Because look,
you haven't sold me on that one, bro.
Yeah, no, it's only one game. But what I'm saying to you is,
as you know, because I put stats in my my cousin's running back stats every game. You know how
but I think you have to understand my angle. My angle is
yards to the carry.
Yeah, I think you have to understand my angle. My angle is our attacking front four as a unit, which is what I said at the beginning, is young. 21 years old, 20 years old, 22 years old. Yeah?
Yeah.
None of the, Odegaard 22, Smith Rowe 21, Saka 20. This is one game we just watched. What's the potential?
Yeah.
This is.
I mean, look, we all saw potential in its early days in a lot of players when they came to Arsenal, because I'm pretty certain Mustafi's first year was pretty good. Yeah, he had just won the World Cup, and we all thought we got a good in there. So I'm not gonna go overboard and say we got the next coming of Christ. But I hear where you're coming from. And if it goes down that road, I am going to be so happy, because
I think at the end of the season,
I'm embracing happiness with Arsenal right now.
Yeah, I think at the end of the season, if everything goes the way I think it's going to go, at the moment right now, before the Spurs game, we were the 5th most creative team in the league. Last season, we were 18th.
Yeah, I don't buy into these stats, bro. I really don't.
I know you don't, but the fact of the matter is stats.
I do buy into stats, but some stats can look really skewed.
Yeah.
Some stats can look really skewed. So at the end of the day, there are some stats which you can't deny. My cousin's rushing and catching yardage. You can't deny it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But some stats can be skewed because you base it on who was the opposition, what time of the game did they play. Like that. It's like what we called the garbage yards.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Garbage time.
I'm talking about.
Yeah. Unfortunately for me, what I'm trying to do is when I did the preview with Andy, every Arsenal fan was saying we can't create. We're the worst team in the league. When I put up the stats and told them we were the 5th best, I said to them, don't judge Arsenal just for scoring 2 goals. Judge them for how much they're creating. Because when you create as much chances as Arsenal, the goals will come. What happened against Spurs? Bang. So my point was proven that it wasn't the goals. Yeah, the goals will come. When you're creating as much chances as this team, the goals are going to come. It's just about being clinical. That's all it is. Yeah. And right now,
I get it.
Yeah, right now, this front four is, I think personally, when we come to the end of the season, we're going to revisit this, and you're going to say, I remember, Apollo, when you're talking about how these guys are creating, and look at all the goals they've scored. And look,
listen, if we come to the end of the season and all your predictions come true, then I'm happy. Look, I have to listen and watch Tom Ashton and his hyperbole. It's like, you know what? When you watch Tom Ashton and you're like, rah, this guy has got some optimism.
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't have that level of optimism, bro.
I love that optimism.
You know, I love him for it, though. I love him for that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And you kind of go, well, yeah, come on, Tom. But really, all right, we'll live with that. We'll live with that. Let him have his moment. Let's all enjoy the moments. You know, we've had it.
Tony, you've got number 4, by the way. Yeah, season. Okay. Is this the season turning point?
No.
So we've got Brighton next week. No. We've got Palace, and then we've got Villa, and then Leeds.
No.
And so this is not you're just giving it a flat out no.
No, absolutely not. Because you know what? We could go on and win the next 10 games. But if we lose the last 7 games of the season, as we've had in recent years, it all means nothing. Because then you're going to say, oh, but the turning point of the season was when we started losing. Yeah?
No. The turning point.
When we started winning, that was a turning point. But when we started losing, that was another turning point.
But what was the intangible, Tony? The intangible was that when we started winning, he actually got his players. He got his defense.
I'm not sold on that, bro.
He got Ben White. He got Gabriel. He got Ramsdale. Odegaard wasn't even an Arsenal player when we lost to Brentford.
And as I said yesterday, we finished the game with 5 new players on the pitch.
Yeah.
So that tells you a lot. We finished the North London derby with 5 new players who had not well, apart from Odegaard. But you know what I mean? You look at that and you go, well, bruh, that team has been transformed. It still needs work, but it is a transformation, and it's a transformation which we still have to give time to settle in and embed. Yeah? So
at the moment you're saying,
I mean, look,
no.
Tomiyasu looks like the next coming of Christ for some people, and I'm happy with the guy. Best left back I've seen since Bakary Sagna. But right back, sorry. But you know, I'm not going overboard and saying
I get you. Let's go to someone who might go overboard. Let me go to Ebony. Ebony, Brighton, Palace, Villa, and Leeds. Is this the turning point of our season? And remember, the turning point was Norwich. That game, he got 9 players back, and we didn't have to field a team of 21-year-olds. Is this the turning point? Because regardless of those 3 wins that we just had, Spurs was the big test for us because it was more of a mental test than anything.
Yeah.
Is this the turning point season for us?
Right. The fact that we're all reveling in this win, you know, the bragging rights, you know, the North London is red. You know, I'm not going to get too carried away. All right. I like to keep my feet on the ground. Like I said, I love it when we beat Spurs, but the fact of the matter is, it is one game. We outplayed Spurs, but then what's happened in the past is that we've beaten a team that we've found difficult to beat in the past, and then we've gone on to lose to the next 2 or 3. Brighton, which is our next game, they've been our banana skin for a couple of seasons now. Yeah. Especially at Brighton. So what I want to see is, you know, the kind of tempo that we played against Spurs yesterday, against our next 10 games. That's what I want to see. And by maybe, for me, maybe November, December, that's when I will decide, okay, we can go on and to bigger things. But right now, I'm keeping my feet firmly on the ground. After one game, I want to see us against one of our biggest banana skins, which is Brighton, whether people like it or not, because they've beaten us at home and away.
Yeah.
That's the when we get to Brighton and Crystal Palace, because Crystal Palace has been another banana skin.
So was Villa. The whole that
Leeds
stretch.
were almost banana
Brighton,
skin as
Palace,
well.
Villa, Leeds.
Leeds have almost been a banana skin for us as well. So they're classified as the smaller teams, and for me, there's no such thing as a small team in the Premier League anymore. So the fact is that when we get to Brighton, I think it's at Brighton. That's when I will see. That's when I want to see. Can we use this game that we did yesterday as impetus to go on to the next few games?
Oh yeah, I think they're all big games. I think they're all. Before I go to Neo Miss, D says 100% bring on Maitland-Niles, Lokonga next to Party, rotate them, and bin Xhaka's injured. He's out anyway, bro. Randy says Xhaka will get Arteta sacked. That's still my belief. PW says now that they can play like that together, we need to see it more often. Needs to be consistent from game to game. Agreed. And it has been consistent because guess what, PW? We've won 4 games in a row with that team. Yeah, with that setup team. The only difference was he brought Xhaka in, but you can see he's tried to plug Smith Rowe in a single pivot. Now he's put Smith Rowe on the left. So he wants to play Smith Rowe. He wants to play with those 2 number 10s. We know that now. Yeah. D saying, actually, before that, I didn't read his comment. It says, no excuses. This team Arteta has been crying. This is the team Arteta has been crying out for. It's set for a striker. Now they should go in and win the league. Yeah, not without a striker, mate. They need a striker. And we don't know. Look, Aubameyang could be on form. He scored 5 goals already, guys. And we're still in September.
Come on, you know that's a stat, and that's a padded stat, man. 3 goals.
It might be a padded stat, but yeah, exactly. But he's still got to play him.
He's count them 3 goals, bro.
Okay, listen,
that's garbage yards for you, bro.
Yeah, it is. But guess what? He had garbage time last season, and they weren't going in. He had 6 preseason games, and none of them went in. So you can talk about garbage all you like. He's still got to go and score, mate. D saying going by Arteta's consistent cry time, he's got his ideal team. So go. Yeah, I think he's 90% there. I think he needs another attacking midfielder, someone like an Aouar, and I think he needs a striker, someone like who you guys know we've been talking about over the last 7 days, makes Neomis smile. Yeah, the Swedish player. I haven't got Facebook. Who's this guy from Facebook now? Oh, it's Bobby. It's Bobby Borman. Bobby says, where do Pepe and Martinelli get into this tag after they don't? I'm a big fan of both of those players, but after what I see against Spurs, these guys in practice in the week are going to have to really press hard to get into this team now.
No, they shouldn't. They don't. I mean, yes, they should press hard.
Yeah.
But the point is, you can't play all them players for 90 minutes of every game.
Yeah, I think you can. So, you know why? Because we ain't got no European football. We ain't got no European football.
I know that.
We play once a week.
We
play once a week, Tony.
Don't forget, you got Carabao Cup, you got FA Cup.
Yeah, you can fling them in there, innit?
Okay, I understand that. But you still can't play them players. Look at Smith Rowe yesterday.
Yeah.
He was non-existent after 70 minutes.
Yeah.
He was tired.
Yeah, he put in a Warriors performance, man.
You know what? When a team gets exhausted, what better thing can you do than bring on Martinelli? Are you mad?
Yeah, I agree.
Your defenders are tired, and now you want to bring this kid on who runs at 120 miles an hour everywhere he runs?
Yeah, I think we all can agree in a consensus that Arteta brought the subs on a little bit later than we thought he was going to, because that's what lets Spurs get back into the game. Number 5, guys, which I think isn't this one ain't going to take too long. 5 things we've learned. The last thing that we've learned is Tomiyasu. 4 of us here gave him man of the match. He produced a consistent, committed, concentrated performance all across the field. He was in the right place to sweep and clear. So I'm going to talk about this because from what I saw from where I was sitting in the Emirates Stadium, this guy has anticipation. And when you have anticipation, it shows that you're alert, you're reading the game, and we haven't seen that since Bakary Sagna. And I'll talk about the 2 times that this happened. When he was in the right place to clean up the Aaron Ramsdale save that he parried into the danger area. A shot came in from the left. He parried it to the right in the danger area. There was a Spurs player behind him. Had he not been in that place to put the ball out of trouble in harm's way, that would have been a tap-in for Harry Kane. Yeah? He also, you know that save that we were talking about, everyone's marveling about the save in the 92nd minute when it dipped and Aaron Ramsdale got his fingertips to it and pushed it onto the bar. No one talks about what happened to the ball after that. You know what happened to the ball? It bounced right down into the danger area, and you know who was there to clean it up? My man, Tommy. So, guys, his positional play was so good. His work rate was amazing. His passing to keep within the team's game plan was exquisite. He was a supporter for Saka on the right-hand side. He dropped back into defensive. He won all of his aerial challenges. He won more challenges than anybody on the pitch. Tony, look up the stats.
I had them at the game, bro.
This guy, yeah, out of the 5 things that we learned, he's the 5th one because he's arrived. And Tony just said it. Tony said, I don't know what he's going to bring to us for the rest of the season. But if it's anything like this, and go back and look at our player ratings from Burnley and Norwich. Man was getting a 7 and an 8 and a 7.5. Yeah. Man was putting in Nacho Monreal numbers, Mr. Consistency, on the right-hand side. After Bellerin's been given 3s and 4s and 5s. So, Neomis, Tomiyasu.
This is easy. I mean, like, he's been absolutely brilliant. And I was surprised that we signed him because we don't have a great history with Asian players, and I thought that experiment was surely done. I mean, you had Rio Miichi, was it Inamoto, Takuna, Asano, I think is the other one.
Yeah.
But we got it right with him. And I like it. And the part that I like is that we didn't go and spend 40-45 mil on a player. Like, he cost us 17-18 mil. That's you know, I don't know who found him. I don't know where the scouting department, or if it was a contact, but somebody there deserves a raise. Because I think that was a very good signing. Very good signing, shrewd bit of business. And yeah, I have no complaints about him. Like, yeah, everything what you said, been consistent. I just more the same. So that's me.
Tony, Tomiyasu.
Welcome the new Bakary Sagna, because I can only think of the back for aerial presence. Lauren, I loved Lauren, but he never had the aerial presence. Yeah. Lee Dixon, a right back legend.
This guy's 6'2", man.
This is phenomenal. This guy is phenomenal.
He's different. Like, Asians are normally short, and
yeah.
Asian. Yao Ming of
He's
footballers.
As Naomi said, man, I don't know who scouted this guy, but that looks like the real
Spurs must
deal.
be kicking themselves they didn't sign this brother.
This guy, I'm going to just recall him Evander Holyfield. Because he's the real deal.
Yeah, he is. Ebony. Man United paid 50 million for Wan-Bissaka.
Mhm.
This their brother was 18 million euros.
Listen, Tomiyasu is a godsend. In the games that he's played so far, he's actually saved us. Not on his own, obviously, but he is the right back that we've been missing for a very long time. He's the right back that Bellerin should have been. You know, he's the right back that is as you said, his positional play is on point. What was that? So
This guy, hold on, let me read this comment. It says, "Love this podcast, guys. 101 has the right energy. I'm feeling
Neo.
up for it now." Yeah, because he called you Neo from the Matrix, and his name was Anderson.
okay.
Anderson is Keanu Reeves' surname.
Mr.
So,
Anderson.
Okay.
so big up Ebony Queen, Neo, Miss Anderson, Tony Stark, Apollo Creed. Mad thing.
Okay.
Oh God, mad thing. Yeah, go on, Ebony.
yeah, yeah, he is a godsend. And you know, do you remember when when we were first linked with him, and everyone was like, "Who the hell is this guy?" Because as Arsenal fans, you know, we're all guilty or have been guilty, but we're all guilty of why can't we spend so much on this? Why can't we get this right back, that right back? You know, if we don't spend, I don't know, 50 million euro, 50 million pounds, then, you know, we're scraping the bucket. You know, sometimes the cheaper players are the best players.
I mean, the thing is, he's come from
Serie A.
and that's a defensive league by nature. And when you watch sometimes when you watch YouTube videos of an offensive player, it's not a reality. But YouTube,
I don't watch YouTube players. I stopped watching YouTube.
Yeah, for an offensive player, it's like, you know, you can have a worldie and put that on YouTube and you look like the best player in the world. But for a defensive player, it's different, because when you see the clips, it tells you about positioning, your anticipation, your tackling, your angles, your set piece. It's a different thing. When you look at videos on YouTube for defenders, it's different from an offensive player.
And he's got an eye for his positional sense is on point. Yeah. And we've kind of missed that. I mean, he's actually better than Mari. Sorry, Mari, but you know.
Well, the joke is he can play centre back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mari's done out here.
Yeah, the joke is he can play centre back. But I think for me, there was 2 instances when I saw Saka attacking on the right when Tomiyasu ran into the middle and he had nobody around him and Saka didn't give him the ball. And I was like, yes, so this brother, I remember the goal he scored. He scored a 30-yarder against AC Milan with his other foot, because he's right-footed, right?
Yeah.
His left foot, he had a 30-yard goal. If you haven't seen it yet, guys, check it out on YouTube. He had a 30-yard goal against AC Milan. Stunner. So when I see him running into the box yesterday, man wants to score too, you know. He wants to get in on the fun.
And that's all well and good. But you know, the fact is he can defend, and you know, and especially on the flanks, that's well, on the right side, particularly on the right side, that's been a problem for us for a while. So you know, the fact that I think Tottenham were in for him, weren't they?
Yeah, they was. Yeah.
Well, you snooze, you lose.
Well, guys, listen, I love this. I've enjoyed this podcast because it's been nothing but positivity here at 101, which is what we always try and do. Tony, we probably can't do that, Tony. The last time I did that, I got a nasty letter from YouTube. I know. I don't know how. I said to my wife last night, when I did that, I think it was something happened with Sheffield Wednesday and another team, and one of the captains spat at a player, and I caught it on video and put it on Twitter, and Twitter gave me stick for it, and then YouTube said you're not allowed to use live video in your stream, which is why we can't stream live games. So I got a little slap on the hand for that, but don't worry, they'll probably tell me just to edit that bit out, so that's not an issue. But guys, honestly, I love tonight because tonight was all about the 5 things that we've learnt from that video, from that game yesterday. And it's important because those things we've talked about, we are expecting to see it moving forward. It's on the menu.
It is on the menu. And the fact of the matter is, it's like I say this all the time after, a series of losses and then we win. We need to use this as impetus to go on to the next, to win the next game. I really hope that we use this to go on to Brighton, because Brighton at home are very good. So we need to bear that in mind.
Let me just put final comments up. So my final comment is, for me, guys, I've watched poor team sheets, lack of preparation. I've watched lack of desire and heart, lack of energy, lack of off-the-ball playing. Now, off-the-ball playing is probably the most important thing in football, because when you understand how the rondo is and hunting in packs and what your jobs are, and one guy's pressing and the other guys aren't, and all this stuff is so disjointed. We've been that team for a very long time. And what I've been seeing, I saw it against Burnley. It ain't just, let's not talk about Spurs. I saw this weeks ago. And what I've seen, I like. And it's on the menu. I expect to see it next Saturday against Brighton too. I expect to see Tomiyasu turning up. I expect to see Ramsgate distributing the ball. I expect to see our centre-backs butting heads with strikers. I expect our midfield to be playing one-touch football. I expect our front four players to be smart, precise, drifting into space, heavy movement, and pressing off the ball. That's what I expect. That's why we're having this podcast right now.
And feeding off of each other. The front four feeding off of each other if he plays that formation.
Yeah. Neomis.
Final thoughts are that in this game against Spurs, Arteta got his tactics right. He got the lineup right for the most part. And the key thing is against our next game against Brighton is that he's got to get the lineup right and get the tactics right. And if he does that, I'd be confident that we can win. But if there's anything else apart from that, then it's going to be a tough game. Because I'm watching the Palace Brighton game now, and even though Palace look like they're going to win, Brighton have caused them a lot of problems. So
physicality.
I do think Arsenal will win, but we need to come correct. If we come correct, then we'll win. But things are looking positive, and that's the key thing. So let's onwards and upwards.
I love Dee's comment here. He says, "You trust the guy starting lead boot Xhaka. Don't make me laugh." Listen, that red card free game ban was God sent, and the man's injured now. So yeah, I'm just happy I don't have to talk about the brother anymore. Them guys are giving me joke today in the forum. I had to listen. I had to have a serious conversation with Mark T because I said the F word with just the F and 3 blank words. And a couple of them were a bit upset that I went in on Xhaka like that. But I had to remind them that I have to go onto the forum every day and listen to people slag off Arteta, and I don't overreact. Yeah, you don't hear me crying. Yeah, I man up. I take it on the chin. Yeah, I don't start crying when man talking about the players or the manager that I like. Yeah, I had abuse with Theo Walcott for 10 years, and you never heard me complain about it. So when I complain about Xhaka, shut up and take it on the chin. Yeah. When I say what I need to say about Xhaka, take it on the chin. Because if you say something bad about the manager, I'm not going to trounce you for it. I'm going to give you your time. I'm going to give you your space to make your view and opinion about whatever you like or whatever you don't like. So when I say it, yeah, back off. Don't come to me. Yeah, because I'm just gonna put them things right in front of your face. I'm gonna tell you about how you acted when Walcott was getting blasted, how you acted to the manager when everybody wanted him out of the club. And I think it was only Tom, James Hanbury, and maybe Bobby and another brother. There was like 4 or 5 of us. Apart from that, 4,000 people wanted the manager sacked. So don't come to me when I got something bad to say about Xhaka. Yeah? Tony, talk to us before we shut the stream down.
94 and a half minutes gone.
Yeah.
30 seconds left. Brighton get an equaliser.
Oh my God.
You're joking. I'm 30 seconds behind. No way. Patrick.
Oh man.
Unbelievable.
D says Xhaka has turned the sea line. I'll need the boot Xhaka, get them Apollo. Hey, listen, I don't hold back when it comes to Xhaka, man. I tell it like it is. Man out there trying to give him credit for beating Spurs. I'm like, brother, Yeah, he weren't part of that 5-game winning streak. Like, he weren't even a part of this season's winning. Xhaka was the linchpin when we got battered in all them 3 games. I never hear anybody talk about Xhaka then, but you want to talk about him now. He's on the winning team, right? Sure. I'm not even going to go there, guys. Listen, big shout out to all of you lot.
Man.
Tony's just pissed off right now because, oh, man. And look,
listen, Palace is a team I hold dear to my heart because obviously, you know, we got Ian Wright from Palace.
Vincey's a big. That's his second team, isn't it?
Yeah, this season they're my second
one
team.
Of my favourite all-time players is Vince
Vieira.
Vince Hilaire. And now they got Vieira, so I'm like, yeah, I'm all for Palace this year.
Gotta support them.
Palace will be all right.
I was in Watford's academy, so Watford's my second team. So I'm not moving from that, man.
You're like,
I don't want Luther Blissett. I don't want them man to send me a nasty message. I don't want them man to start coming at me.
Are you upset that what's his name's left, Troy Deeney?
I thought he was really good for the club, to be honest. So yeah, I'm a little upset that he's left because he really gave them a lot of steel and leadership, and I think they need that. But I hope they stay up this season. I hope they stay up. Yeah.
They will.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us. And listen, just rejoice and enjoy the week. And as I said, guys, no more sourpuss, please. I don't want to see no sourpuss in there in the chat room or on the forum.
Comment.
Neither did I.
Tony. Sorry, go on. Tony and Ebony, closing comments.
You know what was really the most pleasing thing? I don't know if you guys watch Sky Sports News, but Sky Sports News have got this thing called the Gillette. What's it called? The Gillette. What is it called? It's something like the Gillette Precision Play. So every week after all the games are done, they pick one goal.
Oh, Sky Sports News, not Sky News.
Sky Sports News, yeah?
Yeah.
And this goal gets put all the angles on it and the time from this to that. The Aubameyang goal. From the moment when the goalkeeper kicks it and then Xhaka turns the player, I think it's 7 seconds?
Yeah, because remember I said to Neomis, it was Aubameyang that was in the midfield, that takes the ball, holds up play, whips it out to, and then he runs 40 yards into the box.
He didn't hold it up because it was one touch.
One touch,
the way.
Yeah.
It was.
But when I say hold it up, I mean he was holding the player behind him.
And the thing that I took from their analysis of that goal was Wenger ball at his best.
Yeah.
Because that was where you saw Emil Smith-Rowe run past his man and lead. It was Ndebele, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And the next thing, he was gone. And like man was like treading water. You're like, right. It was like watching Saka sometimes. And I actually rate Ndebele as well. But he got ripped because my boy, Emil Smith-Rowe, just went boom. And then that beautiful touch from Aubameyang, it straight into his running path. He didn't have to break stride. One touch, boom. He plays it back into Aubameyang, boom. And that was Wenger ball at his best. And I love how that Sky Sports and Gillette together had broken down that play. They worked out all the angles and they put all these little triangles on the pitch to show you, look at the way this worked out and this worked out.
I'm watching it now. I'm watching the replay now of the goal.
And they looked at the speed at which each player was running. And I'm like, right, they took this to it was sports science at its best. And that goal, love that goal.
Yeah. You know, I just watched it. It's so sweet, that goal. I mean, I'm watching the Spurs players. I've watched it about 3 times just now, and look at the Spurs players. They're lost. Their heads are going like this.
They're just watching like our players just run through them. Like what the?
Like a knife.
He was here 1 minute. I was like,
yeah, man.
Why? It felt it was playing Doctor Strange.
Yeah, for real, man. Ebony, closing comments?
We will win on Saturday. That is it.
Yeah, that's guys.
I
If we,
have optimism. You know how optimistic I can be. Not as
Yeah,
optimistic
yeah.
as Tom. I think he's the king of that. But I have the optimism that we will win on Saturday.
All right, guys, that's it from us here. Enjoy the week, and I'll be back with you guys. I'll do a video tomorrow just to put some smiles on your face, guys. And then we've got the Friday Premier League show. I can't wait to see what Andy has to say to break down the video. I might not even be here because I know I've got some stuff to do with my daughter. So Tony or Bertram might have to do that show on Friday, but I'll see. I don't want to miss it really because I love it. Even if I'm not there, guys, I'm still watching the show because I just love all the banter. And I've got a couple of guys, one guy, Man United, who's still trying to come in. But if any of you guys know any fans out there, because man, some of these fans here, they don't want to answer when their team loses, man. They don't want to show up. Yeah. So Nay, good night to you, Nay. Good night, Andrew. Night to you guys.
Good night, Pete.
Enjoy the evening. Peace, man. And right back out to you guys.
Take
Nice
care,
one.
guys.